Hey everybody, wish you guys all well. In this video, I really want to talk about one of the ways that we can shift how we're seeing what's going on in the world into a positive light. I speak about conscious positivity. I think the time for just being positive is long gone. And it's also not a time to be cynical and negative. This is a time to be excited. But it's hard to be genuinely excited when you see the state of the world right now, how chaotic it is, and all of the divide and all of the craziness going on, right? Inflation, all of this crazy stuff. And one of the reasons I really didn't like this idea in Christianity, this idea of, there's a focus on revelations and the end of the world, and it's a fear-based paradigm. And what I believe is happening is we are being reborn in this world. There is a rebirth happening right now, and it's a dying of the old. And it's really important to remember that. It's something that I had to really reflect on my path, right? Because this idea of spiritual growth is often associated with comfort. That's all it is. It's just comfort. It's really just avoidance. It's ignorance. What's going on is absolutely painful. And I think people need to recognize that. It's painful how many people were lying over the past few years. It's painful to look within our own hearts and realize our own sin and how because it's easy to say, I'm not part of the problem. It's another thing to say, hey, I'm responsible. It's not all on you, but we're one big team. That's how we have to look at this. And it's important to realize that birth is painful. What is going on in the world is painful. And our willingness to push is painful. Because what does that pushing entail? The pushing entails the willingness to be misunderstood, the willingness to be hated and not hate. This runs really deep. It runs really deep. It was something that was on my heart when 2020 happened. I spoke up about the vaccines. I knew in my heart something was off. I'm not anti-vax. I'm not anti-science. These are words. These are just made up words. This is made up words to really subvert and twist and control people. And I think it's important to remember that. It's important to really follow your conscience in this time. And again, all fighting hurts. I don't think people should just go out fighting and just go causing problems. That's not what I think is the way. But I also think sitting on the sidelines is not the way. And that's why I speak a lot about in this channel, it's paradoxes, because that of the spirit doesn't play the same game that the world does. When you're connected, when you're in a flow state, and flow state, that's a nice word for just being connected with your authority, your own integrity, that you follow through with what you say you're going to do. You're in connection with thyself. Your aim is to do the right thing as you come to understand it, not just doing the right thing to appear good, to get validation from the world, because that's what the world offers. This is the idea, what shall man gain if he gains the whole world but loses his soul? Our mission, deep down, is to connect with thy way. And thy way serves everyone. And you really have to peel the layers back. Your own selfishness. What is thy way? What is my way? And it takes time. It takes discernment. It takes graceful suffering, which brings it back to the point of this video. We are going through birthing pains right now. And they will be painful. They're going to come, and they're going to go. And my encouragement to you in this video is these pains are going to be different for different people, because different people are in different positions and they're going to make different moves at different times. This is one big chess match that's going on. Some people were more vocal than others. Others are going to come up. They're going to be later in the game. And don't compare yourself to other people. But what I would say is push. Push. What does that push mean? Again, it's going to be different for everybody. I don't want to give a one size fits all, but what you believe in your heart, following your conscience, don't be afraid of what other people think. And be willing to be misunderstood. Be willing to say the wrong thing at the wrong time. Be willing to take the wrong action. Don't be a fool. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying for those who have ears to hear the message of what I'm really saying, what's going on in the world, all the craziness, you start local. You start in your circle, what you can do, the people who you connect with, the people who, from your family, your friends, and then you branch out there. And again, this requires tremendous wisdom. It requires tremendous discernment. You have to realize some people don't want the truth. They don't want to be reborn. And it's sad, but people need to suffer. People need to suffer. How would I say it? It's like a good father, right? A good father doesn't want their child to suffer, right? But if they're making the wrong decisions, they have to go through that. Some people are going to have to suffer more than others, needlessly. And it's not your responsibility to drag those people out, but to be there, to be a peacemaker. It's the best of your ability. And to be around people who are on that like-minded path, right? We need to be around people who see through the lies, right? And to be able to connect with people who can lead us higher into this rebirth. And again, like all death, it's going to be painful. And I think this is part of why Revelations and all of this, at the end of the world, and there's a lot of fear going on right now, not to pay attention to that, but also realize there is this thing happening. It's hard to really put it into words because it's so much greater than us. We're not in control of it on the individual level, but collectively we are. And every single decision you make it one that you're pushing through. And everyone's going to come to a moment on this path where it's the final push. And what I would encourage you is get to that place as quickly as you can. Take your time, hurry up, as my dad would say. That you can't force it. But if you see what I see, if you hear what I hear, based on how I'm communicating in this video, push, go the final path, the final path. And I would describe that as, people who've been lukewarm on this path, right? The real spiritual path is truth. It's looking within yourself and saying, am I really going the right way? If I'm honest with myself. Generally, we are all lukewarm on different levels, lukewarm Christians, hypocritical Christians. At a certain point, you have to make a decision. Do you want to follow God, truth? And in that path, it's painful, right? These are the type of people that I've had on the podcast. They're going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. We all don't want to hear the truths that we need to hear sometimes. But the more that we run away from that, the more that we're going to experience that pain and be afraid of that. But that pain, that process of rebirth is the best thing that can happen. It's the best thing a father can do, is to tell his son the truth, to tell people the truth. And when you see how hard that is, I bring up Liar Liar as a great movie reference, right? For one day he's got to tell the truth. Well, we really tell the truth. And how do we discern? Are we being brash? Are we being cynical? It requires tremendous, tremendous wisdom. And we have to be around like-minded people who are seeking that path. They're not interested in being right. They're interested in what is that best way. And you'll know it when you're there. Those moments in your life where you say this, you speak the truth, and it's in a way that's just fresh. It's not putting anybody else down. It's just real. It's raw. And to continue to this final push is where you live there. Because what also comes with that, with going this pathway of truth and being honest and being integrous, is the ability to see through the lies, to see who are using emotions and subversion and playing on people's fears to control them. Global warming, fear, there's a new virus, there's this virus, decades, and it's going to come. It's going to come more. It's going to come more and more. And you have to be able to realize and not be pulled into that lower state of fear. Because every time you're pulled in that lower state of fear, then you're operating out of fear. So you have to stay in love. But how do you stay in love? You don't want to be a fool. When I say love, what I'm saying is not an emotional feeling. It's deep understanding. That's what love is. It's a deep understanding, and you want other people to go to that place. So to tie this all together and to make sure I don't rant in this video, what I encourage you to do is push to go further into the right way. And it is going to be more painful until you get breakthrough. Once those breakthroughs come, those revelations come, that information comes, and you know what the next step is. But we got to face there's a lot of ugly truths we got to face as a collective. And we're doing that. We're doing that together. So one step at a time, one step back, 2 steps forward, but now is the time to push even more. And again, I want to be very clear what that push means. It's pushing deeper into the truth, burning the parts of you that are weak, burning the parts of you that are excuses. On a small scale, it's the voice inside that says, nah, I'll do it tomorrow. Do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Well, that's the collective voice that needs to go, because I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. That's what gives us inflation. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll kick it down the road. Go through, go through that final push, that final push of true faith. And on the other side is the ability to look at your enemy and love them. On the other side, it's the ability to look at the chaos that's going on and be excited rather than afraid. Why would you be excited when there's chaos going on? Because you know the old is dying, and you're not focusing on the old dying, you're focusing on the rebirth of what's coming out of this, because there's going to be a lot of chaos and there's going to be more and more chaos, but you're not focusing on the chaos. You're focusing on Christ. You're focusing on the deep rooted messages that he was talking about, not the hypocrites, not the Sunday going Christians, not people. You're not focusing on people. You're focusing on the truth, and you know it when you're around it. And I'd encourage you to double down. Now is the time to double down. Grow deeper and closer to God now.